Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're plunging into something truly transformative, how AI is fundamentally changing our ability to understand really complex systems. It feels like a major shift, moving away from just reacting to problems after they hit towards being proactive, maybe even predicting them. So our deep dive today, it's all about AI pattern recognition. We're going to unpack how it works, at its core. And we'll use a really big human issue, chronic stress and burnout, as our main case study to see it in action. Our mission for you, listening, is to grasp not just what this tech is, but how it actually functions, how it tackles something huge like burnout, and then how that power could, scale up to help society in all sorts of ways, while keeping a close eye on the design side, the responsible development.
Yeah, and what's so fascinating, I think, is that this isn't just about the technology itself. It's really about augmenting human intelligence. It lets us see connections, trends that were, basically invisible before. It's this incredibly powerful tool that helps us move beyond just reacting to problems, to actually predicting them, preventing them even.
Okay, let's unpack that then. When we talk about AI pattern recognition, what does that actually look like? How does a machine see a pattern?
Right. So at its heart, it's about building machines that can reason, learn, and act in ways we usually associate with human intelligence. Think of it like automating the discovery of regularities or classifications, finding predictive signals in just massive amounts of data. It's effectively mapping or labeling information, reducing complexity, extracting meaning.
Okay, wait.
Well, we see it every day, right? Optical character recognition, OCR, pulling text from an image, that's pattern recognition. Or even really complex medical diagnoses from scans. AI spotting subtle things in the images. The big shift here isn't just that machines can do it, but the scale and speed. They reveal patterns totally invisible to us humans, really boosting our perception.
Right, so an AI isn't just born knowing these patterns, it has to learn them somehow.
Exactly, it's learned. And there are a few main ways, or paradigms, it learns. The first one, maybe the most common, is supervised learning.
Supervised meaning?
Meaning it learns from examples that are already labeled. You feed it data where you already know the right answer. So say you want an AI to recognize cats. You show it thousands, maybe millions of pictures labeled cat.
Got it.
It learns the features, whiskers, ears, fur texture associated with that label. Then, once it's trained, it can classify new, unlabeled data, like deciding if a tumor is malignant or benign based on scan data it hasn't seen before.
Wow.
Or filtering your spam emails.
Okay, so that's learning with the answers provided. What else?
Then you've got unsupervised learning. This is where the training data is unlabeled. The AI doesn't get the answers. Instead, it has to explore the data itself, trying to find inherent structures or groupings, hidden patterns.
So it's discovering things on its own.
Precisely. Think about market research, an algorithm sifting through customer purchase data and finding distinct groups of buyers with similar habits, even if nobody defined those groups beforehand.
Interesting.
Or in medicine, maybe discovering totally new subtypes of a disease based on patterns in genetic data. It's finding regularity without being told what to look for.
And there's a third way.
Yes, reinforcement learning. You could call it learning by doing. Here, an AI agent, sort of like a little virtual robot, takes actions in an environment, it gets feedback, rewards, or penalties, and tries to figure out a strategy to maximize its total reward over time.
Like trial and error.
Exactly. Through trial and error. Think about training a robot to walk, or an AI learning to master a really complex game like Go, or even optimizing how resources are allocated in a logistics system. It develops a strategy based on what works.
Okay, so AI isn't just number crunching. It's discerning meaning, sometimes even exploring like we do. Fascinating. Now let's connect the dots. How does all this learning turn raw, messy data into something genuinely useful, something actionable? What's that workflow look like?
Yeah, it's a pretty structured process, almost like an insight factory, you could say. It all starts with data collection. And the quality, the diversity, the sheer amount of data, that's absolutely fundamental. For supervised tasks, like we discussed, this means getting a big set of ground truth labeled examples. That often takes a lot of human effort, actually, labeling all that data.
Right. Tedious, I bet.
Can be.
Yeah.
Then comes data preprocessing and feature engineering. Raw data is messy. You've got to clean it, handle missing bits, normalize it. And historically, a huge part of this was feature engineering. Experts would decide which aspects of the data, which features were most important for the model.
Deciding the distance between eyes is key for face recognition.
Exactly like that. Human intuition driving it. But here's where things got really revolutionary. This is the big cognitive shift. Deep neural networks, especially things like convolutional neural networks, CNNs, they changed the game.
How so?
They can learn the relevant features directly from the raw data, like from the pixels in an image. They figure out what matters on their own. Yeah. So AI isn't just testing human ideas anymore. It can discover hidden predictive features that we might never even think of. It becomes an engine of discovery itself.
Okay, that is a fundamental change. What happens after the features are sorted out, either manually or automatically?
Then you get to model training and evaluation. You typically split your data, maybe 80% for training the model, 20% held back for testing. The model learns on the training data, adjusting its internal knobs and dials essentially to get better at predicting. Then you test it on the data it hasn't seen. That's crucial. It tells you if the model actually learned general patterns or just memorized the training examples. That's called overfitting.
You want it to generalize, not just memorize.
Exactly. And finally, assuming it performs well on the test data, you move to implementation and deployment. You put the validated model out into the real world to generate predictions or insights that people can actually use to make decisions.
That whole pipeline, data to deployment, that's the engine. Okay, let's make this real. Let's apply this engine to something many of us unfortunately know too well, burnout. I mean, it's huge, right? Recognized by the WHO, costs the global economy, what, $1 trillion a year? A single company with 1,000 employees could lose like $5 million annually. It's massive.
It is. And this is exactly where AI can offer a completely different approach. Traditional ways of dealing with burnout, they're almost always reactive.
Right, you deal with it after someone's already burned out.
Exactly. After the damage is done, AI offers the potential for proactive prevention, catching it early.
But burnout feels so subtle, doesn't it? It creeps up on you. How can AI possibly track something so gradual, so nuanced?
It does it by pulling together data from lots of different places. Physiological signals, behavioral patterns, psychological inputs. This whole approach is sometimes called digital phenotyping.
Digital phenotyping, like a digital fingerprint of your well-being.
Kind of. Imagine your smartwatch, your phone, maybe even your work patterns, together creating this continuous sort of invisible health diary. AI can then spot these tiny shifts in your routine or your body's signals that maybe even you haven't noticed consciously.
Okay, so what kind of signals are we talking about physiologically?
Well, wearables like smartwatches are key here. They give us continuous objective data. Take heart rate variability, HRV.
HRV, that's the variation between heartbeats, right?
Exactly. The tiny fluctuations in timing. High HRV generally means you're adaptable, resilient. Chronically low HRV. That's a really reliable sign of elevated stress. AI can analyze your HRV trends over weeks or months and spot that chronic stress building up, potentially way before you feel completely overwhelmed.
Wow. Okay, what else from wearables?
Sleep patterns. Sleep is often the first thing to go when stress ramps up. AI can detect disruptions, less total sleep, maybe less deep sleep, more restlessness, your schedule becoming erratic. All early warning signs.
Makes sense.
And physical activity levels. If your daily steps or active minutes or how often you work out starts consistently dropping, that can signal your energy reserves are depleting. Another piece of the puzzle.
Okay, that's the body's signals. But you mentioned behavior too. So like, are you saying my work emails and my calendar could be telling on me? Assuming privacy is handled, of course.
Absolutely. Handled carefully, yes.
Yeah.
Our digital footprint at work is incredibly revealing. AI can analyze communication patterns.
Like what?
Things like a big jump in the number of emails or messages you're sending, or maybe you start sending them much later at night or on weekends, or maybe your response times slow down. These can all hint that your workload is getting unmanageable.
I can see that.
Then there are productivity metrics. If you use tools like Jira or Asana, AI could potentially spot patterns like tasks taking longer, more deadlines being missed, or maybe you're switching between tasks much more frequently, which can indicate cognitive overload.
Right, feeling scattered.
Exactly. And yeah, calendar data. Too many meetings back to back, no time left for focused work, consistently working way beyond normal hours. The calendar doesn't lie.
Okay. I'm slightly scared of my own digital footprint now.
It's about awareness, though. And beyond just the metadata, when you send emails, how many meetings the actual content is super valuable too. Linguistic and sentiment indicators.
So analyzing the words themselves?
Yeah, using natural language processing, NLP. Sentiment analysis tools can track if the language you use in emails, chats, or maybe feedback surveys becomes more negative or frustrated over time. Advanced models like BERT are great at this because they understand context. They get the nuance, the subtle emotional tone.
BERT, or that's one of those big language models.
Right. And linguistic analysis can go even deeper than just positive, negative. It might detect a drop in collaborative language or a shift from proactive phrases like, I'll handle this, to more reactive ones like, ugh, I have to deal with this now. Even analyzing voice pitch or speech rate in calls potentially for signs of anxiety.
Fascinating. And you mentioned psychological indicators, too.
Yes, and these are often crucial, especially for training and validating the AI models. You need some ground truth. So standardized surveys like the Maslach Burnout Inventory, the MBI, provide labeled data. People self-report their feelings of exhaustion, cynicism, etc. That helps teach the AI what burnout looks like from the inside.
So the AI learns to correlate the digital signals with the self-reported feelings.
Precisely. And even broader, AI can analyze social media sentiment. Looking at public conversations about mental health or burnout can give organizations context about the wider environment. So you see, it's about weaving together all these different threads, physiological, behavioral, linguistic, psychological, to create this really rich, dynamic, and highly personal picture of someone's well-being over time.
It definitely sounds comprehensive, but it also sounds like a lot of very different kinds of information. Wearable data is continuous time series, emails or texts, calendars are structured. How does an AI actually synthesize all of that? It can't be just one single algorithm, right?
You're absolutely right. It's not one magic algorithm. It's more like a multi-layered architecture. Different tools for different jobs. For the time series analysis needed for physiological data from wearables, think minute-by-minute HRV, sleep stages, recurrent neural networks, or RNNs, are really good, especially a type called LSTMs.
LSTMs, why them specifically?
LSTMs, long short-term memory networks, have this kind of memory. They're designed to learn from sequences of data over time, remembering patterns from the past. That makes them perfect for spotting those subtle, slow-burn, degrading trends in things like HRV or sleep quality over weeks or months.
Okay, so LSTMs handle the body signals. What about the emails and chats?
For natural language understanding of all that text data, we use those state-of-the-art transformer-based models like BERT that we mentioned. They excel because they understand context and nuance really well. They don't just count keywords. They grasp the subtle emotional tone, the meaning behind phrases, which is obviously key for picking up psychological distress from text.
Right, so you have specialized models for physiology and language. Then what?
Then the outputs from these specialists, maybe a physiological stress score from the LSTM, a linguistic risk score from the transformer, they become new features themselves. These new scores, along with other data like productivity metrics, calendar info, maybe survey results, all feed into a final ensemble model.
Ensemble, like a team.
Exactly. Models like random forests or gradient boosting machines are common here. They work by combining the predictions of many simpler models. They're great at handling diverse types of data and finding complex, nonlinear relationships between all the different factors. This final ensemble model integrates all the evidence to generate that single overall burnout risk score, often as a probability.
So it's like having a team of AI specialists report to a final AI strategist who puts it all together.
That's a great way to think about it. It's not one monolithic brain, but a coordinated system.
And this isn't just theoretical, right? There are actual studies trying to build this.
Indeed. There's a really interesting one called the Burnout Prediction. Using wearable and artificial intelligence study, they cleverly call it Brownie.
Brownie, nice.
Yeah. It's specifically designed to predict occupational burnout in nurses, a really high-stress group. They're collecting a whole year of smartwatch data, HR, steps, sleep, plus quarterly psychological surveys, and work data from administrative systems. The whole goal is to develop these kinds of predictive models. It's critical work to move from just looking back at who burned out to actually predicting it before it happens.
The Brownie study sounds like a solid blueprint, but let's bring it back to the individual. What's the real aha moment here? How does this actually help someone realize they're heading for burnout before they crash?
This is where the power of these leading indicators really comes in. Research in what these models are learning suggests a typical sequence. Often the behavioral shifts appear first. Working later, sending more emails, maybe skipping breaks, trying to cope with increasing demand.
Trying to keep up.
Right. If that continues, it starts showing up as physiological strain. Sleep quality degrades noticeably, HRV starts trending downwards, your body is under duress, even if you're pushing through. And it's often only after this period of sustained physiological strain that the person starts consciously recognizing and self-reporting those feelings of exhaustion, cynicism, maybe feeling ineffective.
So the AI sees the smoke before the person even feels the fire,
Yeah.
potentially.
Weeks, sometimes even months earlier. The AI can detect those initial behavioral and physiological signals long before the person might score high on a traditional burnout survey or even think about seeking help.
That early warning is huge.
It is. But here's something even more subtle and maybe more powerful that AI can potentially detect. It's what some researchers call the brittle performance pattern.
Brittle performance, what's that?
It's this kind of desynchronization. The person's productivity, maybe their task completion rates, and even how engaged they say they feel in surveys might stay high. They might even increase for a while. They're really pushing, determined to maintain their standards.
So from the outside, they look like a top performer, maybe even more engaged.
Exactly. Looks great on paper.
Right.
But the AI, looking at that passive physiological data stream from their wearable, sees something different. It sees sleep quality plummeting. It sees HRV consistently trending down. It's a specific, almost paradoxical pattern. If productivity is high, Andy's self-report is positive, but THRV trend is negative and D sleep quality is low, then the burnout risk is actually critical.
Wow. That's counterintuitive.
It really is. It's a signature of unsustainable performance. The person is maintaining output by burning through their physical and mental reserves at an alarming rate. It's almost impossible for a human manager, or even the individual sometimes, to spot this until it's too late. So AI doesn't just predict burnout. It can actually redefine our understanding of performance itself, helping us distinguish sustainable high performance from this brittle, high-risk state. That allows intervention right when it matters most, before the crash, before performance actually drops.
Okay, spotting the risk early, even these subtle patterns, is incredible. But identification is just the first step. How does AI then actively help individuals prevent burnout or manage their stress better?
Right. Detection needs to lead to action. At the individual level, AI can become this kind of hyper-personalized wellness coach. It's all about providing confidential, real-time support. So for instance, if the model sees an individual's risk score cross a certain threshold, it could trigger a private, confidential alert just for them.
Like a notification on their phone or watch.
Exactly. Maybe something gentle like, hey, we've noticed your activity patterns lately suggest you might be under high strain, perhaps a good time for a short break. It gives the individual that self-awareness nudge.
Just a gentle nudge.
And it can go beyond just alerts. You can have AI-powered recommender systems suggest really specific, tailored micro-rest routines or wellness activities. If the AI sees your HRV is low and maybe there's a 15-minute gap in your calendar coming up, it might suggest, how about a 5-minute guided breathing exercise now?
Ah, personalized intervention.
Yeah, or if it detects you've been sitting for a long time, maybe a quick walk around the block. Because the suggestions are tied to your real-time state and schedule, they're much more likely to be relevant and hopefully adopted.
That sounds genuinely useful for individuals, but we know burnout isn't just an individual failing, right? It's often baked into the system, the team dynamics, the workload. Can AI help at that level too?
Absolutely crucial point. And yes, AI can help tackle the systemic issues. For teams, think about intelligent workload rebalancing. AI scheduling algorithms could potentially analyze task complexity, deadlines, maybe even factor in individual skills, and crucially, current capacity levels informed by these anonymized burnout risk models.
So it could suggest shifting tasks around.
Exactly. Suggest more equitable task redistribution. Or even just flag to a manager, hey, this person seems consistently overallocated based on these patterns.
Okay, that could make a real difference. What about helping managers have better conversations? That's often tough.
Definitely. This is where natural language generation, NLG, comes in. AI models can create empathetic coaching scripts for managers. So imagine the system analyzes anonymized, aggregated team data, never individual data, and sees maybe this team's after-hours work has jumped 30% this month. It could then offer the manager a conversation starter, something like, here's a way to approach this. Team, I've been looking at our work patterns and I want to check in and make sure we're all maintaining a healthy balance. How is everyone feeling about the current workload?
Giving managers concrete tools, not just abstract data.
Precisely. Helping them foster that psychological safety to actually talk about these things.
And zooming out even further, what about senior leaders? The ones making strategic decisions about resources, policies, company culture.
For them, anonymized team risk dashboards are key. Again, never showing individual data. Only aggregated trends for teams, departments. You might see it visualized as color-coded heat maps, red areas indicating higher systemic risk.
So they can see where the hotspots are organizationally.
Yes, and importantly, the AI might also help surface the primary contributing factors driving that risk in different areas. Is it excessive meeting load in engineering? Is it constant after-hours emails in marketing?
So it allows for targeted interventions.
Exactly. Instead of just rolling out another generic wellness program, leadership can implement targeted changes, like maybe instituting a no-meeting Friday, specifically for that overloaded engineering department. The absolute key here is confidentiality first design in all of this. Done right, AI enables this truly holistic, systemic approach, empowering individuals, equipping managers, and giving executives strategic insight.
It really paints a picture of moving from guesswork to data-informed well-being strategies. Now, it feels like these core ideas, integrating diverse data, finding subtle leading indicators, enabling proactive steps, could apply way beyond burnout, right?
Oh, absolutely. The fundamental concept is universally applicable. The potential is huge. Think about global and societal well-being. Take environmental monitoring, those CNNs we talked about. They analyze satellite or drone imagery to automatically spot deforestation, track pollution plumes, identify changes in land use almost in real time.
Like ResNet 50, models like that.
Exactly. Models like ResNet 50 are great for classifying different types of land cover or spotting changes, and LSTMs. They're crucial for climate and weather prediction, analyzing sensor data streams to track sea level rise or forecast extreme weather events because they capture those long-term time dependencies.
Okay, environment. What about the economy?
Economic forecasting. AI can process way more data than humans ever could.
Yeah.
Not just the traditional numbers, but also unstructured stuff, news articles, social media, earnings call transcripts. NLP models perform sentiment analysis on all that text to gauge market mood. By finding patterns across all these different data types, AI can potentially improve forecasts for market fluctuations, or even detect early signs of economic downturns.
And public safety, that seems like a big area too.
It is. Public safety and justice. Machine learning is used to analyze historical crime data to forecast potential hotspots, helping police departments maybe allocate resources more effectively. But this is an area where we have to be really careful. It's quite controversial.
Why is that?
Because if the historical crime data used to train these models reflects past biases in policing, say, certain communities being over-policed, the AI will learn those biases.
And then perpetuate them or even amplify them.
Exactly. It can lead to disproportionate surveillance or resource allocation. So understanding the nuances of the data source, potential biases, and how the model is actually working is absolutely critical here. It's a major challenge.
A really important caveat.
Definitely. Beyond forecasting, you also have AI analyzing live surveillance feeds, using CNNs again for things like real-time weapon detection, mapping incidents as they happen, managing crowds, or even detecting gunshots for faster emergency response.
And one more huge area, the information ecosystem itself. Misinformation, fake news. It feels overwhelming. Can AI really help here?
It has to. And yes, AI is essential for tackling this at the scale needed. NLP algorithms, especially those transformer models, are getting quite good at detecting linguistic patterns, often used in misinformation like sensationalism, excessive emotional language, certain argumentative structures.
Spotting the hallmarks of fakes.
Right. And AI can also do network analysis, tracking how disinformation spreads, identifying coordinated campaigns, finding bot networks.
So tracing it back to the source, potentially.
Potentially.
Yeah.
But it's an arms race, of course. The most effective approaches right now seem to be hybrid, using AI to flag suspicious content at scale, but then having human fact-checkers do the final verification, combining the speed of AI with human judgment.
That makes sense. Okay, this power is undeniable across so many fields. But as you mentioned with predictive policing, it comes with huge responsibilities. What are the biggest ethical challenges or design considerations we absolutely must get right?
Yeah, the ethical dimension is paramount. Probably the most significant challenge is algorithmic bias, which we just touched on. AI learns from data. If that data reflects existing societal biases, whether it's in policing, hiring, loan applications, even medical diagnoses where certain conditions might be diagnosed differently in different groups, the AI will learn and often amplify those biases.
So garbage in, garbage out, but amplified.
Precisely. Mitigation requires a multi-pronged approach. You need diverse, representative training data sets. You need specific, fairness-aware machine learning techniques designed to counteract bias during training. You need regular audits of model performance across different groups, and likely independent oversight bodies. It's a continuous effort.
Okay, bias is huge. What else?
Privacy. It's the other side of the data coin. The effectiveness of these systems, especially for personal things like health or burnout, often relies on accessing vast amounts of sensitive data.
The digital phenotyping we talked about.
Exactly. And that creates this inherent tension with individual privacy and autonomy. The key principles here have to be baked in from the start. Transparent and informed consent is non-negotiable. People need to know what data is being collected, how it's used, and have clear opt-in and opt-out choices.
Explicit consent.
Yes, and data anonymization and aggregation are crucial, especially when insights are shared upwards, like those manager dashboards. Never individual-level data for managers or leaders, only aggregated trends, and obviously state-of-the-art security encryption, secure access controls to protect the data itself.
Right. Bias, privacy.
Yeah.
What about understanding how the AI makes its decisions? You mentioned models like deep neural networks can be like black boxes.
That's the black box problem, exactly. And it's a major hurdle for trust and accountability. If an AI flags someone as high risk for burnout or denies a loan or recommends a certain action, you need to be able to understand why. If you can't, how can you trust it? How can you fix it if it's wrong?
So how do we crack open the black box?
That's the goal of explainable AI, or XAI. It's a whole field dedicated to developing techniques to make AI models more transparent and interpretable. Methods like SHA, for example, can highlight which specific input features most influenced a particular prediction.
So for the burnout example.
An XAI system might show. This high burnout risk score was primarily driven by a sharp decrease in HRV over the past 3 weeks, and a significant increase in logged after-hours email activity.
Ah, so you get the because.
And that's crucial for debugging the model, for building user trust, for establishing accountability when things go wrong, and just for learning from the AI's insights.
Okay, bias, privacy, explainability. These are clearly critical ongoing challenges. Looking forward then, where is this all heading?
Well, the capabilities will undoubtedly keep expanding. We'll see integration of even more data types, maybe genomic data for truly hyper-personalized health predictions and interventions. The models will get more sophisticated. But I think the most important direction, the goal, shouldn't be about replacing human judgment entirely. It should be about building symbiotic systems. Systems where AI acts as this incredibly powerful cognitive partner. AI can process data at scales and speeds humans can't, spotting patterns we'd miss. But humans provide the contextual understanding, the ethical reasoning, the wisdom, the common sense to interpret those patterns and make sound decisions. It's this collaborative approach, really grounded in human values and focused on human well-being, that holds the key to harnessing this technology responsibly.
So what a journey. We've really dug into AI pattern recognition today. It's clearly more than just an incremental change. It feels like a fundamental transformation, a kind of cognitive prosthesis, maybe, breaking down old limits on how we perceive patterns in the world. From understanding our own stress to monitoring the planet's health, the core idea seems to be the shift away from just managing crises towards actually preventing them. Cultivating resilience, really, at every level.
Absolutely. But as we navigate this incredible potential, we just cannot forget those profound challenges: tackling bias head-on, fiercely protecting privacy, demanding transparency and explainability, vigilant oversight, thoughtful design, keeping humans firmly at the center. These aren't optional extras, they're essential.
So a final thought for you listening. As AI increasingly allows us to see these invisible connections, these subtle patterns shaping our world and our lives, how will you use this enhanced clarity? It's not just about solving existing problems, maybe. Maybe it's about fundamentally redefining what it means to be well-informed, to be proactive, both in your own life and in the wider systems you're part of. What new patterns will you start looking for now that you know the tools to reveal them are starting to exist?
This is DigitView.